So I'm at the end of my Titanic rankings. I have watched 17 pieces of media where the Titanic sank. And naturally, when you get to the end, you sink into what is known as Titanic depression. You know, there's typical symptoms. You stare at the ceiling, blast that Celine Dion, tell people random facts about the Titanic, do a little voodoo on people who keep peddling Titanic conspiracy theories. And every April 14th you have to explain, it is Titanic Day, and you're late because you stayed up watching the real-time sinking video. And people ask you, why is this so important? And you reply, I think I was on the Titanic in a previous life. And when the bitch next to you says, you're crazy, well, peace was never an option. So the only therapy is, after having to suffer through some genuinely bad Titanics and a small handful of very, very good ones, you want to put them through the Hunger Games simulator. Now, I'm sure there are some people of you asking, what the hell is the Hunger Games simulator? Well, there are a few websites that do this, but I'm sticking mainly to the Brant Steele website, where basically you start a reaping, you can put any names you want in there, and then once you've got your full list of tributes, you enter into a simulated Hunger Games where the things that happen are completely random. Now, I've been wanting to do this since I started doing these rankings videos, but I know I'd have to wait until I finished the rankings before I could share it with you. But there are some rules when it comes to making this Hunger Games simulation, okay? Number 1, the tribute has to be fictional, because it would be very tasteless to take the real people who suffered and or died on the Titanic and make them fight each other to the death. Number 2, that the tribute, I'm typing as I do this, has to be in a property where the Titanic sank. Or rather, the tribute has to have been a character that was actually on the Titanic, so we can't have the present day characters from the James Cameron movie in the simulator. Number 3, they have to be the age that they were when they were on the Titanic. So, as much as I like the idea of putting Hayden Christensen in a Titanic Hunger Games simulator, we can't do that because the character he was playing was being played by another actor who was literally just a toddler in the Titanic scenes in No Greater Love. So, sorry. You want to put Hayden Christensen in the Hunger Games simulator? Make a Clone Wars one. And number 4, the tribute must be human, because I don't want to have to put the rapping dog in the fucking simulator. Last time I did that, the dog won. It was wrong. It felt so wrong. Okay, so those are the rules. And now let's get on to the reaping. Oh, and by the way, we're not just having 24 tributes like a standard Hunger Games. Oh no. We're going second quarter quell and having double tributes. If you don't know what the second quarter quell is, in the books they state that every 25 years they have a special type of Hunger Games with certain ways in which they pick the tributes. So, in the first quarter quell, they had the people of the district choose the tributes rather than draw their names from a bowl.
Well, fuck all of you!
And then, of course, in the third quarter quell, which was the final Hunger Games, they chose the existing victors to be the tributes. And the second quarter quell, they chose double tributes, and this was the Hunger Games that Haymitch won. So we have 48 tributes to go through. Are you ready? I'm ready. Number 1, Jack Dawson. Number 2, Rose DeWitt-Bukater. Number 3, Cal Hockley. Number 4, Ruth DeWitt-Bukater, who we will refer to throughout the games as Rose's mum. Number 5, Tommy Ryan. Number 6, Trudy Bolt. Number 7, Fabrizio. Number 8, Helga Dahl. Number 9, Spicer Lovejoy. Number 10, Isabella Paradine, who we will be referring to as Bella Parallelogram. Bella Parallelogram. Bella Parallelogram. Number 11, Wynne Park. Number 12, Åsa Ludvigsson. Number 13, Jamie Purse, Governor. Number 14, Georgiana Grex. Number 15, Simon Doonan, who we will call Simon the Steward. Number 16, Louisa Manton, who we will call Lady Mug, as she has been so affectionately named. Number 17, Peter the Painter Lubov. Oh, what a coincidence. So the actual Hunger Games also has a Peter the Painter. Number 18, Mary Maloney. Number 19, Giff Rogers. Although some people say it's Gif Rogers, but we're going to call him Gif because it's a hard G. Number 20, dumbass Teresa Maloney. Number 21, it's me, Mario Sandrini. Number 22, Muriel Batley. Number 23, Paolo Sandrini. Number 24, Annie Desmond. And because she is pretty much indistinguishable from her Doctor Who counterpart, we're just going to call her Clanny, as a horrible Full Metal Alchemist chimera type amalgamation. 25, Richard Sturgis. 26, Julia Sturgis. 27, dumbass Norman Sturgis. 28, Annette Sturgis. 29, Tony Newman. 30, Hortense Pickering. 31, Doug Phillips. 32, Bernice Pickering. 33, William. Ugh. 34, Angelica Pickering. 35, Special Detective Sam Bradbury, a threat to his friends and a threat to his enemies while he's in the arena. 36, Gertrude Pickering. 37, Gaston, but not that Gaston. 38, Big Boob Molly the singer. 39, George Winfield. 40, Corinthia. 41, Frank Carlston, played by God knows who. Seriously, I went through IMDb and I went through the Titanic Adventure Out of Time wiki and I cannot find who the hell voices Frank Carlston, because he does have a voice outside of the flashback era when he's talking about what the hell happened in the future. 42, Edwina Winfield. 43, Vlad Demonic. 44, Lexi Winfield. And yes, she is 6, but since when has it been odd that children were put into the Hunger Games? 45, Don Juan. Probably not triumphant this time. 46, Elizabeth Camden. 47, Everard Maltravers. And 48, Penny Pringle. That is the reaping. And now, the simulation. Are you guys excited? I'm excited. Happy Hunger Games, and may the odds be ever in your favour.
I make my own luck. So do I.
At the start of the games, there's always a bloodbath because everyone converges on the cornucopia for supplies. By the way, I am recording this on a Saturday morning, so you might hear things like birdsong and children and lawnmowers in the background. Don Juan runs away from the cornucopia. Gertrude finds a big bag of explosives. Lovejoy retrieves a trident from inside the cornucopia. Julia runs away from the cornucopia. Fabrizio runs away from the cornucopia. Annette finds a bow, some arrows and a quiver. Gaston runs away from the cornucopia, and Osa runs away from the cornucopia. Wynne runs away from the cornucopia, while Peter the painter grabs a backpack and retreats. Helga, Bella, Parallelogram and Clanny work together to get as many supplies as possible. Muriel runs away from the cornucopia. George runs away from the cornucopia. Trudy retrieves a trident from inside the cornucopia. Frank Carlston finds a bow, some arrows and a quiver. Tommy runs away from the cornucopia. Jamie snatches a bottle of alcohol and a rag. Richard strangles Doug after engaging in a fist fight. Holy crap. Georgiana runs away from the cornucopia. Mary Maloney runs away from the cornucopia. Vlad Demonic finds a bow, some arrows and a quiver. Penny Pringle and dumbass Norman run away from the cornucopia, while Angelica runs into the cornucopia and hides. Elizabeth grabs a backpack and retreats. Everard and Cal run away from the cornucopia. Mario takes a sickle from inside the cornucopia. Gif runs away from the cornucopia. Big Boob Molly gathers as much food as she can. Corinthia runs away, as does dumbass Teresa and Edwina. Hortense takes a sickle from inside the cornucopia. Sam runs away from the cornucopia. Paolo grabs a sword. Tony runs away. William shoots a poisonous blow dart into Lexi's neck, slowly killing her.
Dude, this is pretty fucked up right here.
Lady Muck runs away from the cornucopia. Jack rips a mace out of Simon the steward's hands. Bernice runs away from the cornucopia. And Rose bashes her mother's head against a rock several times.
How? What? How?
3 excellent questions.
That puts new context to the phrase, "Stop it, mother, you'll give yourself a nosebleed." Oh my goodness.
What?
Mario overhears Jamie and Simon the steward talking in the distance. Muriel makes a slingshot. Mary Maloney sprains her ankle while running away from Julia.
Ah! Ah! Ah!
Tommy receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. It's probably potatoes. Helga runs away from Edwina. Sam travels to higher ground. I always want to say Asa, but it's Osa. Osa hunts for other tributes. Corinthia tends to Fabrizio's wounds, which is nice of her. Dumbass Teresa steals from Georgiana while she isn't looking. Annette receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Hortense attacks Richard, but he manages to escape. Bella Parallelogram tries to sleep through the entire day. William questions his sanity for killing a bloody 6-year-old. Dumbass Norman diverts Bernice's attention and runs away. Wynne runs away from Cal. Angelica searches for firewood. Jack picks flowers. Frank Carlson goes hunting. Lady Muck collects fruit from a tree. Paolo begs for Clanny to kill him. She refuses, keeping Paolo alive.
You're not worth it.
Big Boob Molly diverts Trudy's attention and runs away. Elizabeth diverts Rose's attention and runs away. Lovejoy injures himself. George steals from Don Juan while he isn't looking. Peter the Painter runs away from Tony. Penny Pringle tries to spear fish with a trident. Gaston stalks Gif. Vlad Demonic tries to spear fish with a trident. And Everard Maltravers catches Gertrude off guard and kills her. 4 people have died on this first day of the Hunger Games. Doug, Lexi, Rose's mum, and Gertrude. Julia and Rose sleep in shifts. Cal cooks his food before putting his fire out. It's amazing that someone who grew up as privileged as Cal actually knows how to cook. Don Juan screams for help. Bella Parallelogram receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Penny Pringle tends to Georgiana's wounds. Annette is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Elizabeth destroys Jack's supplies while he is asleep.
This is horseshit.
Hortense, Angelica and Everard Maltravers sleep in shifts. William lets Corinthia into his shelter. Tony defeats Frank Carlson in a fight but spares his life.
From this moment, your every breath is a gift from me.
Osa receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Mary Maloney starts a fire. Richard, Edwina, Bernice and Mario sleep in shifts. Dumbass Norman screams for help, which is the perfect way to get killed, you dumbass. Jamie sets up camp for the night. Vlad Demonic cries himself to sleep. For Serbia. Simon the steward and Clanny talk about the tribute still alive. Muriel screams for help. Lady Muck, Tommy and Trudy discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. Sam quietly hums. Fabrizio tends to Dumbass Teresa's wounds. Peter the Painter receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Gif and Helga sleep in shifts. Paolo thinks about home. George is unable to start a fire and sleep without warmth. Gaston goes to sleep. Lovejoy starts a fire. Wynne climbs a tree to rest, and Big Boob Molly sees a fire but stays hidden. William begs for Everard Maltravers to kill him. He reluctantly obliges, killing William. Bella Parallelogram and Elizabeth hunt for other tributes. Georgiana runs away from Julia. Paolo discovers a river, and Edwina discovers a river. How many rivers are in the arena? Lovejoy decapitates Big Boob Molly with a sword. Muriel stalks Mario, and Rose goes hunting. Jamie, Sam, Dumbass Teresa and Hortense raid Jack's camp while he is hunting. Vlad Demonic sees smoke rising in the distance but decides not to investigate. Lady Muck sees smoke rising in the distance but decides not to investigate. Don Juan, Peter the Painter, Angelica and Penny Pringle and Wynne hunt for other tributes. Cal tries to sleep the entire day. Gaston discovers a cave and George discovers a river. Gif sprains his ankle while running away from Tony. Annette sprains her ankle while running away from Clanny. Fabrizio, Corinthia and Simon the Steward start fighting, but Corinthia runs away as Fabrizio kills Simon the Steward. Mary Maloney, Bernice, Dumbass Norman and Helga raid Osa's camp while she is hunting. Trudy runs away from Tommy, Frank Carlson picks flowers, and Richard discovers a river. I hope someone's keeping track of all the bloody rivers in this simulation, because there must be so many in this. So there have been 3 more deaths. William, Big Boob Molly and Simon the Steward. Lady Muck attempts to climb a tree, but falls on Mary Maloney, killing them both. George cries himself to sleep. Paolo receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Tony, Peter the Painter, Mario and Fabrizio tell each other ghost stories to lighten the mood. Bella Parallelogram and Osa talk about the tribute still alive. Helga, Don Juan and Bernice cheerfully sing songs together.
Top of the world looking down on creation and
Frank Carlson starts a fire. Julia receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Rose is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Jamie thinks about home. Cal bashes Everard Maltravers' head in with a mace. Edwina attempts to climb a tree, but falls to her death. Jack, Annette and Tommy get into a fight. Jack triumphantly kills them both. Bastardo! Dumbass Norman is unable to start a fire and sleeps without warmth. Corinthia, Penny Pringle and Sam sleep in shifts. Vlad Demonic tends to his wounds. Trudy and Angelica run into each other and decide to truce for the night.
Well, okay.
Dumbass Teresa attempts to start a fire but is unsuccessful. Gif stabs Georgiana while her back is turned.
In the bed!
Gaston tries to sing himself to sleep. Clanny, Hortense and Wynne discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. Richard receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Muriel cooks her food before putting the fire out. Lovejoy lets Elizabeth into his shelter. Don Juan sees smoke rising in the distance but decides not to investigate. Frank Carlson practices his archery. Lovejoy overhears dumbass Teresa and Helga talking in the distance. Fabrizio begs for Gif to kill him. He refuses, keeping Fabrizio alive. Bernice shoots an arrow at George, but misses and kills Jamie instead.
Oh, sorry.
All right, bloody priceless.
Dumbass Norman practices his archery. Angelica and Rose work together for the day. Bella Parallelogram tries to spearfish with a trident. Mario receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Paolo questions his sanity. Corinthia unknowingly eats toxic berries. Oh, she's dead.
They taste like burning.
Julia forces Vlad Demonic to kill Peter the Painter or Elizabeth. He decides to kill Elizabeth. Hortense receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Penny Pringle receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Muriel, Tony, Richard and Cal raid Clanny's camp while she is hunting. Sam goes hunting. Jack practices his archery. Osa receives fresh food from an unknown sponsor. Wynne receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. Trudy constructs a shack and Gaston goes hunting. Okay, so 10 people have died since then. Lady Muck, Mary Maloney, Everard Maltravers, Edwina, Annette, Tommy, Georgiana, Jamie, Corinthia and Elizabeth. Dumbass Norman questions his sanity and wonders why he's such a dumbass. Hortense screams for help. George, Muriel, Cal and Lovejoy tell each other ghost stories to lighten the mood. Well, Lovejoy would be good at that. He's been in a lot of horror movies. Penny Pringle cooks her food before putting the fire out. Bella Parallelogram, Trudy, Paolo, Wynne and Angelica sleep in shifts. Mario screams for help. Peter the Painter loses sight of where he is. Don Juan is awoken by nightmares. Gaston, Bernice, Vlad Demonic unsuccessfully ambush Rose, Sam and Clanny, who kill them instead. Well, someone died for Serbia. Richard attempts to start a fire but is unsuccessful. Gif fends Frank Carlson, Helga and Dumbass Teresa away from his fire.
Defend the fire!
We've come for you.
Fabrizio receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Osa quietly hums, and Julia and Tony talk about the tribute still alive. Lovejoy sees smoke rising in the distance but decides not to investigate. Osa diverts Dumbass Norman's attention and runs away. It was very easy. Frank Carlson receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Don Juan sprains his ankle while running away from Cal. Hortense, Dumbass Teresa, Trudy and Mario hunt for other tributes. Helga receives clean water from an unknown sponsor. Rose searches for a water source. Should just kill Helga and take hers. Paolo sees smoke rising in the distance but decides not to investigate. Jack practices his archery again. Muriel tries to spearfish with a trident again, I believe. I think she's already done that at this point. Sam and Julia split up to search for resources.
Maybe we can cover more ground that way.
Yeah, good idea.
Really?
Wynn scares Gif off. Bella, Parallelogram and Tony hunt for the other tributes. Penny Pringle sees smoke rising in the distance but decides not to investigate. Angelica tries to spearfish with a trident. Richard and Clanny pick flowers. And Peter the Painter sets off an explosive, killing George and Fabrizio. Okay, so that's no greater love out of the runnings. Five more tributes have died. Gaston, Bernice, Vlad Demonic, George and Fabrizio. So we have 26 more tributes left. Dumbass Norman strangles Helga after engaging in a fist fight. Trudy goes to sleep. Osa, Lovejoy, Frank Carlson and Cal sleep in shifts. Muriel, Richard and Bella Parallelogram track down and kill Dumbass Teresa. Gif quietly hums. Sam receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor. For all these receiving hatchets, they don't seem to be using them. Mario and Penny Pringle and Tony and Peter the Painter sleep in shifts. Angelica destroys Wynn's supplies while he is asleep. Rose defeats Paolo in a fight but spares his life. Julia receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Jack loses sight of where he is. Clanny attempts to start a fire but is unsuccessful. Hortense begs for Don Juan to kill her. He refuses, keeping Hortense alive. Penny Pringle and Bella Parallelogram work together for the day. Angelica, Clanny, Lovejoy, Dumbass Norman and Don Juan hunt for the other tributes. Julia camouflages herself in the bushes. Tony defeats Richard in a fight but spares his life. Hortense sprains her ankle while running away from Gif. Mario, Frank Carlson, Cal and Peter the Painter raid Muriel's camp while she is hunting. Osa and Rose work together for the day. Trudy overpowers Jack, killing him! Oh my god, Jack won in the last one I played. Meanwhile, Wynn diverts Sam's attention and runs away. 3 more tributes have died. Helga, Dumbass Teresa and Jack. Muriel and Frank Carlson hold hands. Hortense sets an explosive off, killing Trudy, Bella Parallelogram, Rose and Julia. Oh no! I mean, oh no for everyone except Bella Parallelogram. She had it coming. Lovejoy begs for Wynn to kill him. He refuses, keeping Lovejoy alive. Cal stays awake all night. Penny Pringle, Clanny, Osa and Paolo tell each other ghost stories to lighten the mood. Dumbass Norman decapitates Angelica with a sword. Oh, for a dumbass, he's done pretty well in surviving. Don Juan sets up camp for the night. Tony receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. Peter the Painter, Gif and Mario cheerfully sing songs together, while Sam overpowers Richard, killing him. Clanny tends to Wynn's wounds. Osa goes hunting. Muriel searches for firewood. Mario and Penny Pringle work together to drown Sam. Don Juan overhears Paolo and Tony talking in the distance. Lovejoy kills dumbass Norman with a sickle. Hortense tries to spear fish with a trident. Peter the painter kills Frank Carlson while he is resting. Cal searches for firewood, and Gifts tries to sleep through the entire day. 9 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Trudy, Bella Parallelogram, Rose, Julia, Angelica, Richard, Sam, dumbass Norman, and Frank Carlson. This leaves Cal, Lovejoy, Win, Osa, Mario, Muriel, Paolo, Clanny, Peter, Gif, Tony, Hortense, Don Juan, and Penny Pringle as the remaining tributes.
Never let me go.
Hortense and Don Juan sleep in shifts. Osa, Tony, and Clanny discuss the games and what might happen in the morning. Win quietly hums, while Lovejoy and Penny Pringle run into each other and decide to truce for the night.
Well, okay.
Paolo passes out from exhaustion. Peter the painter, Muriel, Gif, and Mario tell each other ghost stories to lighten the mood, and Cal tends to his wounds. Yes, the feast. The feast. The cornucopia is replenished with food, supplies, weapons, and memoirs from the tributes' families. And it's not really the tributes' families because a lot of their families are in there, and some of them killed their own family. Don Juan takes a staff leaning against the cornucopia. Paolo severely injures Penny Pringle, but puts her out of her misery. And there goes adventure out of time.
You gotta shut up, man. I know it hurts, I know. Just keep it to yourself.
Hortense stuffs a bundle of dry clothing into a backpack before sprinting away. Tony severely injures Clanny, but puts her out of her misery. Hooray! Peter the painter decides not to go to the feast. Lovejoy and Osa track down and kill Cal. Oh my god! Once again, putting famous Titanic quotes into a new perspective. Muriel decides not to go to the feast. Gif sets Mario on fire with a Molotov. What's that noise from when Mario dies in the game? Something like that. And Win decides not to go to the feast. Paolo tends to Lovejoy's wounds. Muriel begs for Hortense to kill her. She refuses, keeping Muriel alive. Win travels to higher ground. Gif diverts Peter the painter's attention and runs away. Don Juan hunts for the other tributes. Osa picks flowers and Tony injures himself. Oh, and I must point out, I think Lovejoy is the only one left from the James Cameron film. 4 cannon shots can be heard in the distance. Penny Pringle, Clanny, Cal, Mario. Okay, Muriel, Win, Hortense and Don Juan sleep in shifts. Tony receives a hatchet from an unknown sponsor, maybe you should use it. Peter the painter, Gif, Lovejoy, Osa and Paolo sleep in shifts. Osa is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Lovejoy, Paolo, Gif and Hortense hunt for other tributes. Peter the painter accidentally detonates a landmine while trying to arm it. Tony receives an explosive from an unknown sponsor. Muriel explores the arena. Win is pricked by thorns while picking berries. And Don Juan receives medical supplies from an unknown sponsor. So only one death is Peter the painter. Gif tries to sing himself to sleep. Lovejoy tends to his wounds. Muriel starts a fire. Tony, Win, Hortense, Osa and Don Juan track down and kill Paolo. Tony stabs Win while his back is turned. Lovejoy, Osa and Muriel successfully kill Don Juan, Hortense and Gif. So there's 3 of them left. No, 4 of them left. Muriel and Tony sleep in shifts, and Lovejoy, oh my god, after he protected her from Cal, Lovejoy shoots a poisonous blow dart into Osa's neck and slowly kills her. Can't trust this guy. This guy does not deserve to win. Lovejoy is pricked by thorns while picking berries. Muriel bleeds out due to untreated injuries. And Tony dies trying to escape the arena. So this means, after the deaths of Osa, Muriel and Tony, that the winner of the Titanic Hunger Games is Spicer Lovejoy, played by David Warner.
Marge, I'm confused. Is this a happy ending or a sad ending?
It's an ending, that's enough.
He had the most kills. He killed 7 tributes. Let's have a look at the stats. So Lovejoy had the most kills, followed by Osa, then Hortense, then Muriel, then Rose, then Sam, then Clanny, then Peter the Painter. So last place was Doug from the Time Tunnel, because he died first. I will, of course, take a screenshot so you can see who died in which place. That was insane. But when you do put these characters through the Hunger Games simulator, it will make a different Hunger Games every single time. And you must remember, the simulator does not remember the relationships these characters have had together. They don't care about any affiliations or loyalties. You go in there, only one comes out. So hopefully this may have brought you out of your Titanic depression and you can continue on with your life. If you want, you can take the names that I've listed here, make your own Hunger Games. Tell me who wins. I'll leave a link to the website in the description so you can play about with it. Now before we go, we have captions. I was going to do this at the end of the last video, but I was pressed for time, so I thought we'll leave it for the end of the Hunger Games because the captions mean that we are absolutely, completely done, okay? So, I chose this picture a long time ago. I say a long time ago. It was round about when I was rewatching the James Cameron movie in anticipation of making the video, just in case there was any little detail that I wanted to put in the script. And I don't think I actually ever noticed this bit before, where Cal and Ruth come down the stairs. They walk right past Jack because they don't recognise him. And then Cal goes to greet the Countess of Roths. And of course, in this image, Rose's mum is kind of obscured and Jack is just watching. And I just thought, how has this not become a meme? Because literally any other frame from the Titanic movie has been made into a meme. We will make it into a meme. Yes, it's basically a 1912 version of the distracted boyfriend meme. Thank you. Absolutely. Question is, who's the boyfriend? You see, Jack is a disaster buy. He was weighing up his options between Cal and Rose and he decided, I'll go with Rose because she is much less toxic. In this unprecedented class-elevated status, my best option is, when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So, yeah, go back on a rich girl. On second thought, guess I shouldn't accept the man in the iron mask role. When my besties ask what the root cause of all my anxiety and frustrations come from. Having to interact with people. Not only that, but rich people. What a cute couple. Do they have an open relationship? Isabella Paradox needs to pay. It's okay, she paid. She's dead. We can move on. How can I steal money from this spoiled rich couple? You could say you're a prince of Nigeria. Or you could tell them about NFTs. Oh, I know. Tell them you're a CEO of an exploring company and you've made a submersible that can go down to the bottom of the sea. And it's so exclusive, it will cost $500,000 per person. Don't worry, there's no chance of poor people being on there. And really it's a bargain because they cut so many corners by not even asking for a proper approval by NASA and that lot. Jack pointing to Rose, like, you chose to date this guy, why not me? He's not a great guy, but I am. What does that say? I met you and saved your life. I want you to be with someone who treats you better. And Rose is saying, I don't want to date this man. My family is forcing me to marry him. I will always love you and never let go. Right, I could not make heads or tails of that. Is that my hat? What hat? No one's wearing a hat. You can't wear a hat indoors when you're posh. Wait, what's my line? I know what happens on the Titanic stays on the Titanic, but, sir, that is not your wife. I mean, that summarises the 1996 one. When you just want to find the bathroom but you accidentally stumble onto a goddamn soap opera. When you're on your own in a crowded room, the crazy things you overhear. And sometimes you only overhear them because you forgot your headphones. Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, is on this ship, so the keyhole must be around here somewhere. Damn it, I really shouldn't have exchanged my Kingdom Hearts Primer cheat book for Titanic tickets. But Jack won the bet. He should have kept the cheat book and gotten the tickets. But yes, I actually thought about that, and I was like, wait, the movie Titanic is owned by Disney now. And I'm like, could we get a Titanic? No, we shouldn't. We should not have Titanic Kingdom Hearts. Because knowing them, they'd put the keyhole on the iceberg. They have to steer the ship towards the iceberg to do the keyhole thing. No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. It's wrong. So wrong. And yes, Billy Zane voiced Ansem in the first games, the first 2 games. It's very confusing, the Kingdom Hearts lore, because Ansem isn't who he says he is. That's Xehanort Heartless, who is actually Xehanort in the body of Terra, because Terra was an idiot, I think. Bottom line is, we are not having Titanic Kingdom Hearts. Titanic Hunger Games, maybe. I love seeing the fan art of like putting the Kingdom Hearts characters in different properties owned by Disney. We're not doing Titanic Kingdom Hearts. We can do Star Wars Kingdom Hearts. We can do Gravity Falls Kingdom Hearts. We can do Owl House Kingdom Hearts, but we cannot do Titanic Kingdom Hearts. I guess rich men can afford to have a fiancé and a girlfriend. I'm surprised I'm looking through these captions and no one made a joke about Jack saying, how can you be attracted to her when she's clearly over 25? When you need to ask your mum and dad a question but they're busy. They're not busy, they just don't like you. Jack is me taking notes on my surroundings. When you thought they were meant to be friends but it turns out they're dating. Oh no, they're not dating. They're roommates. Guys, I think the ship is sinking and the propeller guy is already dead. Oh, so you don't need to say I hate sand. But that's the foundation of every healthy relationship, because no one likes sand, apart from Dory. You know, it's coarse, it's rough, it's irritating, and it gets everywhere. If you like my fall into insanity, please make sure you like and subscribe and leave a comment, and we will get back to you. We're going to go back to the 16th century now and talk about Catherine de' Medici, and even further than that, I'll talk about Elizabeth Woodville.